What's going on YouTube? It's JB Tech Fanatic and I'm back again with another video. As always, I'd like to start this video by thanking each and every one of you for joining me. I would be so honored if you'd consider subscribing if you have not yet. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and don't forget to click the notification bell if you want to know when the latest content is available. Today I'm here with something that I'm extremely excited about. It's the all-new Samsung UHD curved monitor. This is a 32-inch monitor and the model number is UR59C and it retails for $500. Now, I want to say a couple things right off the bat. First thing, for you gamers, this is a 60 hertz monitor and it does have game mode, so it is not a real high refresh rate monitor. This monitor is really being advertised for content creators, business people, students, and then of course just the average consumer that wants a beautiful, vivid 4K experience in their computer room or on their PC. Now, this is something that is really come a long way as far as, price starting to drop with 4K, in addition to curved monitors, just, giving you that extra depth. But they also have a special feature on this monitor that is shared with the ultra-wide monitor that I also did a video on, and that is the picture-by-picture function, which allows you to run two separate sources into one monitor. I'll give you an example. You can literally run a game system into one port and your PC into another and have it going right down the middle of the screen and have two screens in one. And since you're getting a fairly large 32-inch screen, it's quite an awesome experience. We're gonna check all of that out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna unbox this. I'm gonna show you how to set it up. I'm gonna show you all my settings and we're gonna see this in action. And hopefully we can help decide whether or not this is worth your hard-earned $500. I'm so happy you're here today and I'm so sorry I can't talk, but hey, let's get started. All right, quick unboxing. UHD monitor, curved, 1 billion colors, bezel-less design, 1500R, picture by picture, game mode. Make sure that you have the top of the box up. Pretty basic here, but they do have the instructions for setup right on the box and as well as how to turn it on the box. Everything is nicely placed in the package. We have the accessory kit and then our stand accessories, which we'll look at closer. All right, move that stuff out of the way. Simply slide the packaging off. Quick note, try not to damage the screen. Go ahead and grab with two hands or have two people grab from each side. The screen will be facing down. Okay, now time for the big reveal. I just want you to know that it's very heavy. That's the first thing I noticed. It has some good weight. And there we go. Now, I gotta say, right off the bat, this is stunning. I love the textured back. It really does kind of give you that feeling that it's cloth, but it definitely is not. We got the nice Samsung logo branding here. We have an HDMI port here. We have the DPN, the audio jack, and then the DC here. And then you can actually see when it was manufactured, and that is February. Of course, these were just released. Another thing, just like the Samsung Ultrawide that I reviewed, we have the power button and the control button on the back side. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, but definitely not a deal breaker. Now, before we flip it to the front, let's go ahead and look at the stand and put that on. And if you skip this part, remember this basically has no bezel, so be careful when you're grabbing to flip it over to not crush your screen. Okay, remember the instructions are on the package, but it's very easily done. This simply is going to be pushed right into here, and you're gonna go ahead and tighten down this screw. And once that's complete, we're gonna go ahead and put this into here. All right, so really a Phillips or flathead screwdriver would be fine. Once it's together, it looks just like that. Then you simply see these little clamps. You're gonna just push, and then it's gonna go down. Now, again, a screwdriver will do. This might be overkill, but I'll just drill this in. All right, you wanna make it nice and tight, that way it's not wobbly, and we're all set to go. Now, oops, let's get that. All right, real world accident there. Anyway, Make sure your cover doesn't go flying on the ground. And this is simply just gonna help the presentation look nice. You're just gonna push and snap down. We're all set to go at that point. Again, just make sure everything's nice and tight, and let's check this out. Actually, I got ahead of myself. Remember, go ahead and hook up your cables in the accessory kit here. We got our power adapter, and then they give you a nice Samsung HDMI cable. Now, something that's really nice about this is it has a cable management system, which, you know, their QLED TVs have, and even the studio stand. So if you wanna hide your cables, you can go ahead, of course, pop this back off, plug in your HDMI or plug in your DP, whatever you wanna do, but definitely get your power, and then we're gonna run it down this channel. All right, so we got my HDMI plugged in and we have the power plugged in. You simply wanna just run them down. Now, I will say this right off the bat, one thing that I'm not loving is that the headphone jack is right here. It's gonna be hard to get to, especially if you do this and have everything covered up. Thankfully, I don't typically use headphones right out of the monitor. Once your cables are in, you wanna kinda start up a little bit here, and then you can just push down. Now, you're gonna maybe have to adjust these cables so they don't get pushed out. But basically the trick is to push the cables all the way back, okay? And once they're all the way back, then you can go ahead and slide that down and it locks into place, and they're still flush and flat against there. And then you simply wanna just put this back on again. And as you can see, the cables are nicely managed and they are hidden pretty well. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so we had the cables all plugged into the back. Now, of course, you wanna go ahead and plug those into the devices you will be using. Keep in mind, there is only one HDMI port and one DP port. Therefore, you kinda gotta choose which one you want where. Now, I use my PC for the DP port, and I'm going to show you guys the picture-by-picture mode with the Samsung DeX, meaning I have to use an HDMI. It would have been nice to have two HDMI ports in addition to that. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the screen settings itself. Now, as you guys know, on the back right side, reach to the back and you have your little display here. You get 4 options, left being the source, down being the power, right being a picture-by-picture, and then up being the menu. Go ahead and go to up. Now, I wanna say if you want to maximize your adjustments, you need to pick custom, and I'm gonna show you custom. But what I mean by that is you get standard, cinema, and dynamic contrast. Everyone has different likes. If you pick the dynamic contrast, it will take away all your options. But then again, Samsung is saying that this is the most vivid. We're gonna go ahead and go to custom. And when we're on custom, I'm gonna show you what I'm running here so you can try to mimic what you're seeing if you like it. Brightness at 97, contrast at 93. Now on color, you gotta look at this. Mine came really strange. You know, this was turned to like, red was on like 2 or something. Anyway, you want it to be at 51, 50, 51. That's what I found to have the best results so far. And again, make sure that you use very high quality, you know, 4K capable HDMI cable or DP cable. Color tone, you have the custom here, and then you have gamma. Now, I don't know if you could see this in the camera. Mode 3, in my opinion, works better. And what happens is that it just gets a little bit better contrast with the blacks and grays as you go down. If you could see that, and then 3 being the best. So put it to mode 3. Now, Samsung, Magic Upscale. Again, this can take your images and upscale them. What I have noticed with this, just from playing with it, in some cases, when you are on mode 1, if you are watching something that's 720p and it's doing its upscaling, if you're very close to the monitor, you can kind of see blurring. In order to fix that, what I did is I kicked it down to mode 2, or in some cases, I shut it off. But for the most part, I'd say 95% of the time I'm on mode 2. Leave that there, Now you have, of course, eye saver mode if you're working long nights or you're in a really dark room. Those of you that game, like I said, it does have a game mode on it. And then response time. This is going to accelerate the panel's response rate to make the video appear more vivid and natural. Make sure to put that on to, I'm sorry, click the wrong one. Put that all the way to fastest. So you have standard, faster, and fastest. And then picture size, I recommend auto. I'm running multiple monitors, so of course, when you're doing that, it's easier to be on auto, but if you're just running this as a standalone monitor, wide might work for you, but I like it on auto for now. Now, picture by picture, we're gonna get into that in a minute. On-screen display, we have transparency, language, and then display time. Okay, system. So smart eco savings, I always recommend shutting this off. I mean, how much power is this really gonna save you? Plus it makes the panel dimmer. Off timer plus, PC or audio video mode or AV mode. You have the display port and HDMI. For now, I'm gonna put on PC. You might decide to use this as a small television monitor. And believe it or not, it actually works really well as that. So depending on what you have hooked up, you can change that here. DisplayPort version. Now this will also give you the option with HDMI, and we'll show you that in a moment. But basically you want to put it on 1.2, but make sure that you purchase 1.2 DisplayPort cables for it to look proper. Source detection auto, key repeat time acceleration. You could pick your standby light however you'd like it, standby or working. And then if you ever mess up and you don't like what you did, you could always go to reset all. And then lastly, you can always see what your PC or whatever you've decided is pushing. And this place, in this case, DisplayPort 3840 by 2160, 1 through 3.3 kHz at, again, this is a 60 Hertz panel. So that's basically it for the setup. So now we're gonna go ahead and take a look what this looks like in action and picture by picture mode. I want you to pay close attention. As you can see, there's not a lot of light bleed. It's a nice uniform black color. That's actually a big deal for this monitor. Just nice and black. All right, so far for the display, I unfortunately am so limited what I can show on YouTube without them pulling it down immediately. So I'm kind of stuck showing you my video shot in 4K. Now I want to say right off the bat, I am so impressed with the beauty of this screen. I have found that I'm often drawn to it even over my television, and it is so immersive. The curve in the screen brings a whole new meaning to PC. Now I have a couple curved TVs and I've tested many of them. On a monitor, it's just so different because you are a little bit closer to it. And once you have, something in full 4K, it is just stunning. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just play a video here, and we'll try to pick up. What we can do is stretch it out, make sure we're in 4K.
That go along with it. But what about the house that doesn't necessarily want surround sound?
All right, so I'm kind of getting closer up for you to see. Sorry about the bouncing there.
And specifically, maybe you need to be able to hear dialogue better. This is a product, the Bose Solo.
Now I know that, of course, it's harder to see through camera, but basically the curved screen really pops out the image that is being focused in on. You could really, it's almost like a 3D effect. Now there's a lot of 4K and 8K videos, obviously you can't see them in 8K, but that you can look up on YouTube to really pull this out. Specifically the wild, or when they do the animals, the jungle. I mean, it is just so cool. It just seems like it's 3D really, and it really is stunning.
That
obviously anything looks better than that ugly face on the screen.
Reasons for that, and really the main is one, how come it keeps getting it's almost 5 stars?
Another thing I want to point out very quickly is that I like the fact that even though This is a curved monitor. It really just fills out nicely. I never feel like anything looks stretched out. You know, as you saw, I jumped from, you know, into full screen mode, and it just really just still looks great. And at the bottom here, you can see we're in full 4K. And then if I just click here, it still fills out the screen. So that is really a great thing that happens. It doesn't look cut off or stretched out. And that was something that I kind of worried about. All right, just another quick look at another one of my videos here. Again, I know that it's hard to see on the camera. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of the image quality and just how vivid it is. So to go to the next step, picture by picture is really a great idea. And I want to show you this. Right now what we're looking at is we're looking at Samsung DeX and then my PC. Now, you could do this any way you want. If you have a game console, if you have a cable box, whatever you want to do, you essentially can have two monitors in one. And since it is a good size monitor at 32 inches, it actually works out well. If you don't know what DeX is by Samsung, I do have videos that you can check out on my channel about the product, but you can put, you know, your Note 9, your S10 Plus, whatever you want into one of their docks. They have two different docks, and they now have a USB Type-C HDMI where you would just simply plug it in the bottom of your phone and plug it in the back of your monitor or TV. In this case, we put it in our monitor. So we have the right side is the DeX and the left side is still my PC. As you can see, my YouTube video is still there. Now, very quickly, in order to do this, what you want to do is you would hit the back. You would now go to the right to PBP. You would go ahead and click that. You would turn that to on. Once that's on, you're going to be able to pick where do you want your sound source to come from. Do you want it to come from, you know, the HDMI port? Or, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. If you're watching TV and you don't have to have your sound on your computer or vice versa, you will know. Now, picture size, this is where it gets tricky. Not always when you flip this over does everything look right. You know, maybe it's too big or it's stretched out. So right now I found it's easiest to put it on wide. Now auto is fine also, but you basically would just have to go in and shrink that up. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. So keep that on wide, and then again, it's going to redo it for me. Now we're going to go back into the menu quickly, and we're going to look at contrast. Now you get a contrast for each port there. So I went ahead and I put the contrast, because they're both high resolution items, to 100. And now, if you want to do any other settings, like with your brightness, you would just go back into the picture mode and go ahead and turn the brightness to what you want. And again, all of the other settings, as you can see, remain the same. You can also now see what you're getting. So on HDMI 1, we're putting out basically a 1920 by 1080p at 60 Hertz. And then we got a 1920 by 2160 at 60 Hertz. That's what we're getting right now into this. So we go ahead and exit out. Now, just so you can see how cool this is, now right here, I'm on the YouTube side. Now I have a mouse hooked up to my DeX, and then I have it to my computer. So as you can see, we have a fully functional monitor on the left, or we want to go over here to the right here, if you guys can see my mouse. We can go ahead and open up the internet. Now, again, this is all happening on a completely separate device, and you have the ability, of course, to stretch that out. And you can adjust this just like you can your PC. Sometimes you want to expand, you know, zoom in, make it look bigger. But the bottom line is that you can do two things here. One, you can have two separate monitors. You can also flip-flop them if you want one on the left versus the right. You can do that all with the settings. So basically now, as you can see on the left, we're searching the internet, and on the right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some work. It just makes this a great experience, and just imagine all the different components you can hook up. Okay, I flipped over to just HDMI. Now again, this is the DeX. You can see it goes full screen, but the reason why I did that is you want to remember to go back to the settings menu. And when you do that, you want to go to System, and you will see now that we're on HDMI. Below the display port, we have the version. So keep the display port on 1.2 and then click on HDMI and make sure it's on 2.0. And then of course, make sure that you have a device that's capable of 2.0, but that of course is the newer standard of the two. So you want to make sure to flip that on. That way you're getting the best quality. Those of you that want to know full specs, you can go ahead and pause this portion. I'll cover just the basics really quickly. Curved screen, 16:9. Contrast ratio is 2500:1. You have a 1500R curvature, 32-inch screen. Brightness is 250 CD. Color support is 1.07B. Next thing that's very important to people, besides it being a full 4K resolution, and is the size of it. So the product dimensions without the stand are 28.1 by 16.6 by 3.4. And with the stands, it's 28.1 by 20.3 by 9.4. The total weight with stand is 12.34, and then without is 10.58. We know it has an HDMI port. We know it has a DisplayPort cable. And we'll click up so you guys can go ahead and pause that also. And we also know that it has an audio headphone jack on the back. So what are my real thoughts? Well, after using it for, a while now, a few days, I have to say, everything Samsung talks about, from the UHD upscaling being just brilliant, the colors, the depth that it gives you, even the game mode has done much more than I was expecting. This monitor with the picture by picture, the curved format is just a stunner. They did a beautiful job, whether this is very visible in your home or not from, 360 views. It's just beautiful. The fact that they don't really push how beautiful the bezel-less edges are on the box kind of does it not so much justice, in my opinion. Lastly, I want to say this. Besides me highly recommending this for basically anyone, it's a multitasking beast. Is if you watch my channel, you know that I reviewed the ultra wide monitor. So I'm going to show you, I have basically 3 monitors being ran now. I'm going to show you a quick side-by-side look at them. All right, the ultra-wide monitor, definitely nothing to sleep on. As you can see, this is basically my setup. My thought process is curved monitor being dead center, and as it bends with that bezel-less display, those of you that want to run multiple monitors and use it for gaming and have them right next to each other, that would be the perfect example of how it can work. Now, my setup is different. I run my business, I do editing, whatever I'm doing, I like to jump from workstation to workstation running off of one PC. But in this case, imagine the possibilities. You can then now, if you had 2 monitors, in this case, you can run the picture by picture in 2 spots, essentially, giving you 2 additional monitors on top of that. The comparison, I'm just saying, don't sleep on the ultra wide. Meaning the ultra wide is still comes highly recommended. I will continue to use it in my setup. But if you want higher resolution, you want the curved immersive experience, this UHD curved monitor by Samsung is phenomenal. Remember, I'm just doing this because I reviewed both of them, and I want to give my audience the options and let them know that either one of these is great. With the wide, you get extra space from left to right to work with multiple windows. It really is just a multitasking workhorse, but at the same time, you also get a multitasking workhorse in full 4K with a curved screen. In my opinion, The curved screen is a beautiful monitor at the $500 price tag. By the way, I've seen it on sale for $450. It is something that you should definitely consider. It really has all the features you need. All right, well, that wraps up the Samsung curved UHD monitor. And in my opinion, it's another awesome product by Samsung. As always, I want to just slow things down for a moment and remind each of you, life is so short. Don't forget to love your family, love your neighbors and your friends, take care of each other. The world is a sick and evil place, and the only people that can change it is you and I. Go out today and do something kind for someone. It could be the smallest gesture of help, but just doing little things like that can just help so much. I want to remind you that I do YouTube for you and you only. This stuff is just stuff. It brings joy to us, and I am here to help you with that joy. So if you have a legitimate question about something that I did not answer in the video, please reach out to me in the comment section or on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at JBTechFanatic, and I will try to help you to the best of my abilities. I want to thank each of you. I am so humbled that you're here, and I want to invite you one last time to subscribe. I am nothing without you as a channel, and you, my subscribers, are so important to me, and I hope that what I am doing helps you every time you watch one of my videos. I want to say thank you one last time. You guys stay safe. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video, and I really can't wait to talk to you in the comments. And until then, I'm JB Tech Fanatic, and I'm out. Peace.